Hello, hi, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to Bookmas Day 9. Oh my gosh, I can't believe we're already 3/4 into it, right? This has been a journey, honestly. So I am so happy to have participated in Bookmas, and I cannot wait to share with you all the rest of Bookmas. So let's talk about today's video. So today's video is going to be my 2026 anticipated reads and my reading goals for 2026. So without further ado, we have a lot to chat about. So let's get started, and we're gonna start with my reading goals. I have my laptop here so that I don't forget anything, and also because we are talking about anticipated releases, I do want to read some of the synopses, or at least give hopefully a brief summary about it. So we're gonna start with my 2026 reading goals. The first being read 50 books. To be honest, this is very ambitious for me. I cannot even read 30 books, I think, or maybe I can only read 30 books, and this includes DNF books. So when I mean by reading 50 books, I kind of want to complete 50 books, but I'm gonna loosely keep it as read 50 books. So I'm gonna include DNFs in case it helps with hitting that 50 book mark. But essentially, I do want to complete 50 books. So that was the first one. My second reading goal is to annotate a favorite book. So this year, I have reread The Hunger Games, just the first book, because I did not read the rest of the books before. So it was my first time reading The Hunger Games trilogy. And I absolutely loved rereading The Hunger Games. When I was little, I did not like rereading books because I already knew what happened, so I didn't really see a point in rereading a book that I've already read. But as I got older, I realized when I'm rereading these books, it's just a nostalgic feeling. And of course, when you read a book for the first time, you probably will be missing some key elements or even some hidden elements in the book. I realized that when I reread The Hunger Games, I noticed that based on my first time reading a book, it's not a completely different experience, but it was a different experience, and I did notice more things. So because of my reread experience of The Hunger Games, I want to, well, technically this is annotating a favorite book, but I do want to reread a book and this time annotate my favorite book. That is my second goal of 2026. My third goal is to prioritize my physical TBR. So I did make a video on all the books on my physical TBR and whether I'm going to prioritize it with a yes, no, or maybe. I realized I had a lot of books on my physical TBR, and so I do want to prioritize my physical TBR before buying any new books. Actually, I don't even really buy that many books, but I do read my physical TBR alongside borrowing books from the library. So looking at my physical TBR right now, I think it's very doable. And due to the space that I have in this condo, I do want to limit book buying. So I do want to purchase books that I know I love or will think I love, instead of buying books just because I need to hit a threshold or because I heard good things about it, so I'm just going to buy the book. Because it might not be for me, and I don't really want to keep a book that's not really for me. I would tend to unhaul those books. In 2024, I used to buy books only after reading books from the library. If I enjoyed that book so much, I would purchase that book. So in 2026, I do want to prioritize my physical TBR and then try to see whether some books I can unhaul or I can see myself keeping for a long time. So that's what I want to do in 2026. I want to prioritize my physical TBR and then I can buy more books. I'm excited. Next up is be active in a book club on Fable. So what I mean by that is that I want to actually read the books in these book clubs. So let me explain. I joined the Fable book club. I joined Sunny Kim Reads Fable book club, I think in 2024. And I did a pretty good job for the first month, of course. But by the second month, I did not follow through and actually DNF'd that book. The February book of the month for Sunny Kim Reads Fable book club was Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. And I DNF'd that book because I just wasn't in the mood. I was trying to read it, but I just wasn't in it, and I DNF'd it. After that, I don't remember if I traveled in March or April, but one of those 2 months I was traveling, and because of that, I fell off on the book club. So long story short, I do want to be active in a book club. So what I mean by this is that I am actually going to read the books for that month in that book club. And the book club I was thinking of joining was Freya's book club. And the reason for that is because I think in her 26 books for 2026, the Poppy War was in it. If that's one of her book of the months on Fable, then that would definitely align with my 26 books for 2026, and that would kind of knock 2 birds with 1 stone. And finally, the last reading goal for 2026 is read 1 new release each month. I realize I don't really read new releases for that particular year, but the big reason for me wanting to pick up a new release each month is because during the 2025 Goodreads Choice Awards, I wasn't able to partake in it because I didn't read a lot of those books. I mean, I don't really have to put in my vote, but I wanted to do it for the fun of it. It just sounds fun to cast in my vote, but I had no votes to cast because I didn't read any of those books. I know that sounds like a very silly reason to read a new release each month, but that is one of the reasons why I want to read a new release, to cast in my vote. That's just the driving force, but I think this would be a good way for me to discover new emerging authors, or just discover authors that I've never really read previous books before. That is my last reading goal, and a great segue to the next topic in today's video, which is my 2026 anticipated book releases. Without further ado, I have quite a few in here. I'm going to go in the order of release dates. So the first is going to be a book I am looking forward to in January. This book is going to come out on January 20th, and that is The Poet Princess by Shen Tao. I heard about this book from Jamie here on BookTube, and she mentioned that this is her new A Song to Drown Rivers by Anne Liang. For context, she absolutely loved A Song to Drown Rivers, and I have yet to pick it up, but I am intrigued. But because this is her new A Song to Drown Rivers, now I'm thinking I'm gonna pick up this one first, and how she described this book was so intriguing, I knew I had to pick it up. I would say go to her channel to hear how she describes the Poet Empress, because it was so intriguing. I immediately had to put it on my TBR. So I'm going to read the synopsis here. In the waning years of the Azalea dynasty, the emperor is dying, the land consumed by famine, and poetry magic lost to all except the powerful. Wei Yin is desperate. After the 5th death of a sibling, with her family and village on the brink of starvation, she will do anything to save those she loves. Even offer herself as concubine to the cruel heir of the beautiful and brutal Azalea house. But in a twist of fate, the palace stands on the knife edge of civil war, with Wei trapped in its center, at the side of a violent prince. To survive, Wei must harden her heart, rely on her wit, and become dangerous herself, even if it means becoming a poet in a world where women are forbidden to read, and composing the most powerful spell of all, a ballad of death and love. That sounds interesting. So we have magic in the form of poetry in here. We have a strong, I think, would be a strong female main character who will become a concubine to take down the cruel prince. That just sounds amazing. So I cannot wait to read The Poet Empress, coming out January 20th. So the next book on my 26 anticipated releases is And Now, Back to You by B.K. Borson, which is coming out February 24th. So I have mentioned that I want to read First Time Caller, and this is in anticipation for this book. Now I'm thinking, should I have put this on here? Because what if I did not like First Time Caller? Then would this be on here? Anyway, I'm just gonna still put it in here in case I do really enjoy First Time Caller. So I have no idea what this is about, and just knowing that it's the second in the, I guess, interconnected standalone series, I do not want to read the synopsis of it in case it might spoil something from the first book. So this is a short and sweet anticipated release, which is coming out February 24th. The next book that I am interested in reading is Just Friends by Haley Pham, which is coming out March 3rd. The first video I watched from her wasn't even book content. It was I think it's her and her friend going to a hip-hop class. I mentioned in a previous video that dancing is one of my hobbies, and so I found Haley Pham through one of her dancing videos, and then she became a reader herself and now writing a book. So this is Just Friends by Haley Pham. I'm going to read the synopsis of this book. Blair and Declan were inseparable growing up, best friends who knew each other better than anyone else. But when an impulsive kiss took them from friends to something more, everything changed. Just as quickly as their romance started, one moment shattered it all, leaving them with nothing but heartbreak and silence. Now, 4 years later, Blair is back in their coastal hometown of Seabrook to support her mom and care for her great-aunt Lottie as her health declines. To make ends meet, Blair applies to work at a coffee shop, only to discover it's managed by none other than Declan, the boy she loved, the boy she lost, the boy who still makes her heart race. As Blair's path keeps crossing with Declan's, old wounds resurface, secrets are revealed, and sparks reignite. But could their future ever be free of their past? So this is a second chance romance, and it's told in dual POV. So the cover is very cute, first of all, and the story sounds cute. It kind of reminds me of an Emily Henry mixed with Abby Jimenez. So I'm excited to read this book. I have heard mixed reviews about this book so far, and I also heard that it's very flowery. So that's one thing I'm worried about, the writing in the book, where it's more flowery than my usual easy to read books. But at the same time, excited because this is her debut novel. So I'm excited to read something from her and just see how far she's gone. I'm trying to avoid reading reviews on this book, or actually a lot of the books. I tried to not look into the reviews so that it doesn't influence my rating of the book and my review on the book. Once I solidify my review and my rating on the book, then I love reading comments and seeing how others interpret or even experience the book. So that is Just Friends, coming out March 3rd. The next book is an author I have read before, and it's also coming out March 3rd, and that is No Matter What by Cara Bastone. So I have read Ready or Not by Cara Bastone, and this is an accidental pregnancy trope. So this is my first accidental pregnancy trope, and I really did enjoy the book. And I think it really helps because the characters kind of are around my age band. It was just very refreshing to read books that have characters around my age. Since I did enjoy Ready or Not, I did not read her second book, which is Promise Me Sunshine. It just sounded too sad for me at the time, so I did not read Promise Me Sunshine. But I am very excited for No Matter What. So let me quickly read what that one is about. We follow a young couple, and after a traumatic accident, this threatens the foundations of their happy marriage. So our female main character is Roz, and our main male character is Vin. After this traumatic accident, Vin signs a new lease, and they're soon to be divorced. Now, what does Roz do? She signs up for a figure drawing class. And while she's in this figure drawing class, she needs to practice. And her male subject is none other than Vin. And he actually offers to be the male subject. It seems like, is this going to be a second chance as well? Or is it just slow burn, trying to reignite their marriage again? Ooh, I don't know. It just sounds interesting. And if I really enjoyed this one as well, I will go back to read Promise Me Sunshine. That is No Matter What by Cara Bastone, and it's coming out March 3rd. The next book we have is another March release. This one is releasing March 31st, and it is The Night We Met by Abby Jimenez. I'm not going to read the synopsis of this book because this is the second installment of the Say You'll Remember Me, I guess, Interconnected Standalone series. Again, I don't really know if it's going to be an Interconnected Standalone or if it's a series like itself, but it's just the second in the installment. So I'm not going to read the synopsis about it, but just to let you know that this is on my 2026 anticipated releases. So the next book is an April release. This one is coming out April 28th, and it is We Burned So Bright by TJ Klune. I absolutely love The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune, and it was one of my all-time favorite books. I knew I had to pick up another TJ Klune book, and I currently have Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune, but have not picked it up yet. But with this new release, I believe it's a novella too. Let me double check. check. I think it's a novella or maybe a short story because it's only 176 pages. So I'm going to read the synopsis of this book. I'm kind of worried about going into this book, and you will see why after I read the synopsis. Husbands Don and Rodney have lived a good long life. Together, they've experienced the highest highs of love and family, and lows so low that they felt like the end of the world. Now the world is ending for real. A wandering black hole is coming for Earth, and in a month, everything and everyone they've ever known will be gone. Suddenly, after 40 years together, Don and Rodney are out of time. They're in a race against the clock to make it from Maine to Washington State to take care of some unfinished business before it's all over. On the road, they meet those who refuse to believe death is coming and those who rush to meet it. But there are also people living their final days as best they know how. Impromptu weddings, bright burning bonfires, shared meals, new friends. And as the black hole draws near, among ball lightning and under a cracked moon in a kaleidoscope sky, Don and Rodney will look back on their lives and ask if their best was good enough. It sounds like it's going to be a sad but heartwarming book, and it's sci-fi in a sense. And I'm excited to read another book by TJ Klune, and it really helps that it is 176 pages. I'm just worried about this book because it sounds just pretty sad, and I tend to not read sad books because I don't really want to read a book that's sad. So this might be my first sad book that I'm going to be reading. So that is We Burn So Bright by TJ Klune, coming out April 28th. Now we come to May, and this book is coming out May 5th, and that is The Last Contract of Isako by Fonda Lee. I haven't read anything by Fonda Lee. Fonda Lee has written the Greenbone Saga, and I have heard amazing things about it as well, but have not picked it up yet because I have too many fantasies that I need to read. So I've held off reading this book for the time being. However, she is coming out with The Last Contract of Isako, and this book is a standalone. So that's why I kind of want to read this one. Oh, and it's also sci-fi. I feel like 2026 is the sci-fi era for me. Let's read the synopsis. It's quite short, so it won't take too long. Isako is a legendary swordsman, but every legend has to come to an end. When her longtime client unexpectedly retires, she plans to follow, to walk out into the frozen wasteland of their planet with her head held high and her family enriched by her legacy. But when a competitor offers her a final mission, it's one she can't refuse. Soon, she's thrust deep into a world of corporate espionage, duty-bound duels, and shadowy secrets. What she uncovers will change humanity's existence in the stars forever. Interesting. So this book is a space opera. What is a space opera? Space opera meets corporate world? I am excited for that, especially knowing that it is a standalone series. Even better. I'm excited to read another sci-fi book and to read one of an anticipated new author to me. So that is The Last Contract of Isako by Fonda Lee, coming out May 5th. So now we are in June, and we have a lot of new releases coming out in June, and I am so excited for this. The first book I'm excited for in June is The Secret World of Briar Rose by Cindy Pham, and that is coming out June 2nd. I don't really want to read the synopsis of the book, but all I know is that it is a Sleeping Beauty retelling. Say no more. I love fairy tales. So if you tell me there is a fairy tale retelling of a book, I'm sold. I'm going to read it. First of all, the cover is gorgeous. And secondly, the fact that it is a fairy tale retelling, I'm all for it. So this book is, ooh, interesting. I'm on Goodreads right now, and all I read was this one sentence, and I am sold. So this is a lush and immersive queer Sleeping Beauty retelling about escapism, grief, and dreaming of a better world. I cannot wait to read this book. I'm so excited for this one. So that is The Secret World of Briar Rose by Cindy Pham, and that is coming out June 2nd. The next June release is a duology, and it's the last book in the duology, and that is Light Wielder by Rachel Schneider, which is coming out June 9th. So this is the second book to Metal Slinger, and I haven't read Metal Slinger, and I don't know what it's even about. I have heard so many things about the ending of this book, the twist in the book, and I really want to experience it for myself. So that's why I want to pick up Metal Slinger. I have no idea what it's about. All I know is that it is a fantasy, I don't know if it's a romantasy. That's how much I don't know about this book. I really want to read that. And the second book is Light Wielder, and this is the Fire and Metal, I think, duology. I think it's going to be a duology. Not sure if there's going to be more, but I'm going to say duology for now. So I'm not going to read the synopsis for Light Wielder, and I'm not going to read the synopsis for Metal Slinger because I want to go into that one super blind because I have absolutely no idea what it's about. So that is Light Wielder by Rachel Schneider, coming out June 9th. So the next book on my 2026 anticipated new releases is another author I have read before. I've read 2 books from her, and this one is coming out June 16th, and that is The Someday Garden by Ashley Poston. Now, Ashley Poston, I have read The Dead Romantics and The 7-Year Slip. Both I gave 5 stars. I knew I had to pick up another Ashley Poston. There was one release I heard mixed reviews and it prevented me from picking it up, but that shouldn't be the case. I should have just picked it up. So the book that got mixed reviews, I believe it was a novel love story. Maybe after reading her new release this year, maybe I'll pick up a novel love story. So we'll see how I feel about The Someday Garden. I'll just read a very short blurb on it. The new head gardener at the enchanting Lilymore house stumbles upon a secret garden with a mysterious man trapped inside. So this sounds like another magical realism book, and just hearing that there's some magical elements in a garden sounds very intriguing to me. So it's giving a secret garden vibe. I feel like this is going to be perfect for the springtime. So it's coming out June 16th. So spring is still around, so I'm excited to pick this one up, and I'm excited to go back into Ashley Poston's writing. So that is The Someday Garden by Ashley Poston, coming out June 16th. The next book is probably my most anticipated book release in 2026, and that is Six of Crows, A Darker Shore, Letters to Ketterdam by Leigh Bardugo. This is coming out June 30th. I immediately know I'm going to buy this book because I love the Six of Crows duology. I kind of want to go into this blind, but anyway, we're gonna read it. In the years since the violent upheaval caused by the auction of Q-Wei Yule Bow, the merchants of Ketterdam have been under attack. Secret businesses exposed, ships sunk, slavers hunted as they once hunted their victims. All the work of a mysterious sea captain and her ship, the Wraith. Now, 2 investigators meet to uncover the truth behind the latest disaster, a massacre on an island off the shores of Ketterdam. Among the evidence collected is private correspondence between notorious crime boss Kaz Brecker and an anonymous sailor aboard the Wrath, known only as I. Follow along with the lead investigator as he tries to piece together how such a disaster transpired and explore the grief shivers like never before. Ooh, and I think this is going to be in the form of letters. So I'm very excited to read this. It is a novella. Now, after reading the synopsis, I think this should be read after the Six of Crows duology. So that is why I am going to reread Six of Crows and The Crooked Kingdom, and then I will read A Darker Shore, Letters from Ketterdam. It is definitely my number 1 2026 anticipated new releases. So that is Six of Crows, A Darker Shore, Letters from Ketterdam, coming out June 30th. The next book is a new to me author, and I do plan on reading one of her novels in 2026. It is on my 26 books for 2026, and this is coming out August 31st. And that is Taipei Story by R.F. Kuang. So I don't know anything about this book. So this one doesn't even have a cover yet. So there's not even much about this book. We know that it is a love story set in the capital of Taiwan. It's a coming of age story set in a language school in Taiwan. And it will be in the larky style of the American novelist Elif Batuman and Patricia Lockwood. So we'll start with the Poppy War, and hopefully by then I'll finish the trilogy and maybe hopefully read one of her other books before getting to Taipei Story. So I am excited for Taipei Story, and that one is coming out, well, I'm not sure if it's going to exactly come out September 1st, 2026, but that is what Goodreads has at the moment. So that's Taipei Story by R.F. Kuang. We are almost done. We have 2 more books on the list. The next book is the last book in the duology, and that is The Knave and the Moon by Rachel Gillig. So I haven't read The Night and the Moth, but it is on my 26 books for 2026. So I am definitely going to read that in anticipation for The Knave and the Moon. But at the same time, I was going to read that book at some point. So this one says is coming out September 1st, but we'll see. This duology is called The Stonewater Kingdom. So I'm assuming it's only going to be a duology. I love duologies. It's just nice, fast and easy, and it's not a big commitment when I want to start a series. I have heard such great things about The Knight and the Moth, so I am excited for The Knave and the Moon as well. And hopefully I can get to this one when it releases. That is The Knave and the Moon, coming out hopefully September 1st. The last book on my 2026 anticipated new releases is a book that I have recently read, and it's the second in this, I guess, interconnected standalone series. And this one is expected to come out September 15th. That is Grim Tidings by B.K. Borison. Now, I've already read Good Spirits. I have already vlogged about it. I really enjoyed the book, so I'm excited to read Grim Tidings. This one follows the Grim Reaper. Let's see if there is a synopsis. There is no synopsis about this book, so I don't even know if it's going to come out on September 15th. There's no synopsis, nothing, so can't really talk about it. But all I know is that we are following a Grim Reaper, so that sounds very exciting. I'm excited for this one. We'll see if it's going to come out September 15th. It might be too early to tell, so that's probably why there's not much about this book, but it is going to come out sometime in 2026. And that is my 2026 anticipated new releases and 2026 reading goals. Thank you so much for watching this very lengthy chatty video. I would love to know what is on your 2026 reading goals, or if you have any 2026 new releases that you are looking forward to. And I will see you in Bookmas Day 10. Bye.